Now we're going to talk about all the things that you need to know to solve this circuit. What's the output voltage? Output voltage is alpha IE, which is IC, times RC in parallel with RL. This is your output voltage right there. Calculation done for you. You don't have to do any work. What about the gain? How do we define gain? It's this divided by this. The output divided by the input. V out by V in, which in this case happens to be VB. What's VB? It's equal to I little e. Yeah, so we have I little e that goes through here, which goes through RE, which goes through capital RE, little e. So we have this. That's the voltage there. What am I going to do to get the gain? Output voltage divided by input voltage, VO over VB. I put them one on top of each other. The IEs die. You see how they die? They kill each other. You're left with alpha RCRL over RE plus big RE. What happens if this RE is bigger than my smaller? If this RE is bigger, my gain would be smaller. So we need to keep this RE small enough. But it needs to be big enough so that this little RE doesn't get too small. Right? If that gets too small, then we have a problem. It also controls the amount of current, the amount of VDE, the amount of current going through here. So everything's kind of interrelated. That's why this makes it so complicated. Now, I think that there's a question that asks you for IB, the current going into the base, which is the total current going through here minus the current that's being supplied by this guy. Right? We're doing KCL at this point, which is everything going through here, which is IE, minus whatever's coming in, which is alpha IE. It's going to equal whatever's left here, which is IB. Is that clear? So IB, I'm going to factor, is IE 1 minus alpha. What's alpha? Beta over beta plus 1. I put it in. I solve this guy. I get this. IB is equal to IE over beta plus 1. I should post that online.
Sure.
This is your IB. What am I going to do if I ask you for Rin? What's Rin? See, there's 3 equal signs. The equal sign is 3. That means definition. Rin is equal to VB over IB. This will be useful. Right? So keep that. What's Rin here? Now, if I'm talking about the total Rin, there's going to be more stuff that affects it, right? My Rin here, I'm looking in this way. However, this guy is going to be a problem too because it's still here. So you have to put whatever your Rin this way is in parallel with this guy. Okay, so if I'm looking at Rin here, it's this in parallel with whatever we find here. Keep in mind, right? And if this isn't here, then we don't care about that. That is it. So, last thing we're going to talk about is if I'm asking you to solve for the base current, the DC base current. We're talking about this base current going in here. I capital B. Do you guys know the difference between I capital B and all that stuff? Little I, little e, small signal. Little I, big E,
Combined.
total, combined. Big I, big E, DC. Very good. You guys get that? Questions? Don't be ashamed to ask questions. Okay. So, IB, this is what you're going to be asked for in the test, in one of the questions, is equal to V Thevenin minus VB. What's V Thevenin? It's going to equal to R2 over R1 plus R2, which is the voltage here. DC now. We only care about DC. So that's V Thevenin. I'm calling it V Thevenin because it's easy.
But that's equal to VB.
Not necessarily.
No, but we find VB with this formula.
The problem is that this is only true when...
Keep it up. Should be. Karut padal
You guys want to go on a timeout? This is
When
only
it's
true
stiff.
when this is stiff. Very good. So if I assume IB is very small, you have your answer. You can just assume that VB is equal to V Thevenin. If I assume that there's some current being sucked away, that means that this voltage VB is going to be a little lower than R2 over R1. So, if you guys want to get some extra marks, you can actually draw very neatly, so I understand what you're doing. Show me what your VB is going to be. We're going to get to IB, right? We want IB. You guys can show me what IB is, assuming that this is very stiff, or using this calculation, which I give you right here. Right? So V Thevenin divided by R1 in parallel with R2, right? Why? This is your Thevenin equivalent circuit. The same thing is going through here, right? All of my IB, this is locked off, right? All my IB has to come from here or from here, right? All of it. So you have the IB sucking through here, R1 parallel with R2. Then you have then it's going to go through R capital E. Notice we don't care about R little e. We care about this R and this R, because the one inside we don't care about. Now it's DC. So, over R1, R2, so that's IB. Now we have, well, what's VB? Because we have VB here. We need to figure out what VB is. V is going to equal to V capital E, this voltage, plus VBE, which we know is 0.7. And now we have a question again. What's V capital E? Right? Well, V capital E is equal to the DC current going through here times the total resistance in the way. Obviously, this doesn't matter. The capacitor blocks it. Okay. Now, the question is, we have this. What's IE? IE comes from here. VCC minus IE. Well, look what I'm doing. I'm assuming that IE is equal to IC here, right? Because I know that IE is equal to, what is it? Whatever, it's close enough, right? So I'm saying IE times RC minus 0.1, which is this thing. You can actually even ignore this. You can ignore it. Minus IE, which is, again, in this equation, which we can factor out, times this, right? So VCC minus this, minus 0.1 for this guy, minus IE times this guy, minus IE times this guy equals 0. Can I solve for IE in this equation? Yeah, because I have this, I have this. I know obviously that's 0.1, I have this, I have this, I have this, and that's 0. So I just solve for IE. Right? So then I take this, put it in here, I just get a number, which I take and put it in here, which I take and put it in here, which I have IB. Or, I can assume IB is going to equal, if I want to use it stiff, I just assume that VB is equal to R2 over R1 plus R2 times, Vanessa, if you're still excited, you can come back in, times VCC. And then we know that VE is equal to VB minus VBE. And then you can do another loop. Try it. You guys are ready to go. I think all your questions should be on the board.